morning. Hey, Robert. Hey, Robert. How you doing, buddy? Say hi to the camera. Hi, camera. How's everybody doing this morning? It's Wednesday, May 28th, 2025. You're here with me on Coffee with Malcolm. Casual conversation over a cup of coffee. Lighthearted stuff. Nothing depressing, we hope. So, anywho, Robert's visiting us this morning. Yes, he is. What you be doing, huh? Yeah, he's a good boy. Got him this got him a squeaky ball for dogs, and he absolutely loves this ball. It's a little rubber squeaky ball. I didn't think he would take to it, but he'll fetch with it, play with it. He'll toss around on his own and play with it. It's just really fun to see him find something that he really likes. He even brought it inside the house and was like dropping it on the floor and then running after it, things like that. So, hey Johnny, how's it going? And Spring's here, and Terry's here. Good morning, everybody. Hey, yeah. What's going on, buddy? One day he's all over me, the next day he's not. He's doing that biting thing again. Yourself. Here to steal the crown. All right, well, you know, best of luck. Like I said, I tried to figure out how that ranking thing works. Yeah. So anyway. Oh, you're welcome, Johnny. Start the day off with a nice cup of coffee. Oh yeah. Giggity giggity. So I was listening to the news this morning, as I do each morning, and hey, random spelling bees. They still do spelling bees, and there are kids out there that actually participate. These are kids, probably all homeschooled. I don't know. They were talking about here in Georgia, two kids from Georgia, different counties or whatever, are going to be able to participate in the National Spelling Bee competition. And I'm kind of surprised by that because so many people can't spell. It's sad and embarrassing. Some people can't even write decent. And I'm not talking about just kids and teenagers. You know, at work, I see all kinds of people's handwriting. And, yeah, it's kind of embarrassing for them. You know, I don't say anything to them. But, and then, I don't know. Now, I'm not like an expert speller by any means. But, yeah. This one, I don't know. It's just this spelling and grammar, you know? What are you gonna do? I don't look at this guy. He's being a total ham this morning. If I ignore him, he'll walk away. You can't spiel. Urgh. We know who runs your house. Yep, kids run your house, that's for sure. All right, stop. I'm not going outside. You can't eat my microphone. So anyway. With the X and especially, yeah. Oh, I had a boss. She would say Pacific instead of specific. And she was my boss. Stop. That's enough. I'm gonna push you off this couch. Look at this guy. He wants to wrestle. Hey, Pacific. She would say that all the time. And she was an older woman, been around for a while, you know. And she was my boss. And it's just one thing she would always do. She would always say Pacific instead of specific. And there you got bored with me. Go get your ball. He just laid on the ground and just let him eat your arm. I can't because he doesn't realize how strong he is. DayZ and Hop. Is that the game you're playing now? DayZ? I need a new game. Yeah, I mean, I still like the Hell Let Loose game, but, right? I don't know. So, yeah, that was, and then I got this email, because I've been doing that Google Trends thing, and it sent me this 3-page email. People were searching stuff. It gives you top searches. And it's kind of sad. So, talking about spelling bees, right? And the top trending how to spell searches in the past month were congratulations, appreciation, Florida, amazing, and camouflage. Those were the top 5 searches in the United States in the past month for words, how to spell words. I don't know what to say. And then there were more top searches of why is this word so hard to spell. Definitely, restaurant, architecture, necessary, and tomorrow. And there was like, why are these words so hard to spell? Because you haven't learned them. That's what it is. But tell me why baloney, you can't hear the G, and colonel doesn't even sound like it's spelled like colonel. If you're a colonel in the army and stuff like that, not the kernel of corn. Florida. And then it says top plural spelling searches: mango, Bloody Mary, berry, controversy, and octopus. What are the plurals of those words? And this just, you know, it kind of just reveals. I got a few more here. What was the? That's what it is. And how the origin of certain words like okay, bad, geometry, picnic, and avatar. And then people were trying to figure out differences between bougie, conscious, and then preschool versus preschool, desert versus dessert. Oh. Anyway. Yeah, well, I can't look at that anymore. I'm throwing that off to the side. That's just like both for both. Oh, they couldn't spell Florida. Again, like I said, I'm not the best speller by any means. Okay, there are some tricky words like colonel. In the military, that word always bothered me. And dessert and desert. I do remember this one little thing as a kid. Totally, completely random memory that has no meaning really. The way to remember difference between desert and dessert is desert has one S and dessert has 2 S's. And you want 2 helpings of dessert. That's why you have 2 S's in dessert versus desert. I was like in 1st grade or something like that. And I thought, oh, that makes sense. I like dessert. So that was one way I remember as a kid being taught how the difference between dessert and desert. That's the only word that comes to mind that I had that little the teacher gave me that little analogy for, and I thought, that's good. I like dessert. I was a chunky little kid. Dessert was like awesome. I was like, heck yeah, let's get some more dessert. But it's actually National Hamburger Day today, which is one of my favorite foods. Cheeseburger. And like a real beef burger, not some tofu burger, or black bean burger, or some kale burger. Leave us illiterates alone. I don't know. I try to use proper grammar and I try to spell things. I put forth the effort. And when I'm looking at stuff, if I write things down on paper, and now my writing is not that great, but it doesn't look like like 1st grader with a fat crayon type writing either. So, a bologna burger? Maybe. But you even spell bologna wrong in the United States. It's B-O-L-O-G-N-A. Thanks to Oscar Mayer and their little catchy tune in the 80s. It's Bologna. There's so many different Was that the comedian Gallagher? They used to smash the watermelons. He had like this hat on, his big poofy hair. There's a little video of him on the internet where he has this little 4-letter thing, and he's talking about different words and how they're spelled in the English language, and how you would think it's spelled if you, whatever. And it's pretty funny. I'm sure you could find it real easy. I see it all the time on like YouTube and stuff like that. It keeps popping up. You don't have blog me in Australia. Oh, you're missing out, man. I gotta get some dry ice and send you a pack of bologna to Australia. How's your day going today, Brandon? By the way, I hope you. I don't think I asked if your wife was doing better. I hope she's doing good, and you can give us a forecast of how today is going to play out on Wednesday. There's a couple other little interesting stories we'll go to here in a second. But yeah, National Hamburger. I love a good cheeseburger. A nice, big, thick, juicy cheeseburger. Man. And I've cooked on the grill plenty of times, and I just never can get a good beef patty for a burger. You know, I'll put the stuff in the meat, I'll pat out my patty, I'll make it, I try to make it huge because I know it's going to shrink down, and I try to make it thick, but it ends up like this little hockey puck with a hump in the middle, and I never can. I squish it down, I do all this other stuff, but I don't want to squish it too much because you squeeze all the grease out of it, then it's not a juicy burger. I'm not a chef. Not a chef. But I haven't cooked it on the grill in a while, or especially any like cheeseburgers and stuff. But yeah, National Hamburger Day. It doesn't say National Cheeseburger Day. It says National Hamburger Day. So yeah, 47 degrees in West Virginia. It was a little chilly out yesterday too. I think it was like 62. And we're at the end of May, and I'm down in Georgia. It was kind of weird, but it's one of those little tricks of nature. Like, here's a little cool air. Gotcha. Here comes the heat. Wow. Terry this little thing. See, he was a drill instructor. Had a young guy who thought he had bad vision issues, and come to find out he was illiterate. He was in his 20s. Damn. Reading is such a simple. You would think you and I, like, reading is such a simple thing. We take it for granted, really. There are people out there who are completely illiterate, can't read or write. I've known older people in their 60s, or like their 70s, 80s, could not read and write. They functioned their whole lives doing it. Now, they weren't rich or anything like that, but they were taking care of themselves. They, did manual labor jobs and things like that. And they would come to the post office, and I would have to fill out their, money orders for them. And I didn't mind. It was a small town thing, and I was happy to be able to help. But yeah, this one lady, she couldn't even count money. She had cash, and she knew that she had to get money orders, pay her bills, and I would tell her total, and she would just cautiously hand me a stack of bills, what she thought was close, and she was always off. And she was giving me like extra $20 bills, and I didn't take them. I mean, I counted the money out, and I'd give her change back properly. And, of course, she trusted me over a few months, so she didn't have any problem handing me the money, me giving her change and doing everything, giving her receipts and all that stuff, and helping her fill it out. But yeah, there were a few people in that town that just could not read and write. So, I don't know. Random says it's going to be a 7 out of 10 today, and his wife's doing a little bit better. So that's good. Walked 8 miles. Damn. I was ripping off other people. I was not. I've always had like a guilty conscience. And part of that's being raised Catholic. So, but I just didn't feel the need to like cheat people out of money and stuff like that. I felt bad for them, I really did. Now here I am, I'm I'm making ends meet myself and doing what I had to do to, provide for my family at the time and all this kind of stuff like that. And I just couldn't see myself cheating these people out of their money because I don't know what their situation was or their history was and why and how. But yeah, and I wasn't trying to brag on that part. I was just trying to put the fact out there that there are people that can't read and write. And like Terry said, that guy was in basic training in the Army and thought he had vision problems. And the whole thing was he was illiterate. So that's the guy with the beard did it. That's why I did it. I had to shave the beard. They're coming after a bearded guy, so I shaved it off. But it's like, if you pay cash and you give somebody, like my dad was visiting a couple weekends ago, right? And we were at this little street market thing, and he paid this lady with cash. She wanted 25, and he gave her a 20, and what he thought was 1.5, but there was two of them stuck together, and she, said, "Oh no, you gave me too much," and he was like, "Well, thank you so much for your honesty. I appreciate your honesty. You can have the 5 anyway as a tip." And it's just like, she was doing the right thing. It made him feel good too, and he wanted to he was just being generous, and he wanted to, reward her for her honesty, and gave her the tip. And so, things like that are just nice to see, And you like to see that. You think the world, and I still think a lot of the world is a messed up place, but being able to see, Australians are not stupid. But those simple acts of kindness like that just kind of make you smile and feel good for the day about your surroundings and people you interact with and things like that. So I remember shopping at Walmart with my kids, and there aren't real people these days. We're all living in the Matrix. Yeah. He grabbed something. He was, 6 or 7. I can't quite remember. He was a little guy. And he had something in his hand, and I didn't know it. Checked out. We're in the car, putting stuff in the car, and he just produces this piece of candy. And I'm like, "Where did you get that?" "I got candy." And I'm like, no. And I made him go back inside and made him give it back to the cashier. And he was so embarrassed and ashamed. But, it didn't hurt him or anybody else, but you have those rare opportunities where you try to teach your kids right from wrong, and you have to take advantage of that, and you have to seize that moment, and that was kind of the thing I did too. So, hey Leo, how's it going, man? How's it going? Speaking of kids, there was this other little story that came out. This 19-year-old kid, I call him a kid, he's 19. He won $100,000 for inventing a cheaper, faster way to make antiviral drugs out of corn husks. Now, I didn't read the whole story, but obviously he did something. Smart kid, and he got $100,000. I think he got ripped off. I'm just saying. Some pharmaceutical company is going to take that and make billions and billions of dollars. And he got enough to maybe go to college for a couple of years. So, yeah. Did I give the good story about giving the extra money back and people being nice, and then you got this company that swoops in and we'll give you $100,000 check right here on the spot, for the rights to that discovery you made or invention you made. So yeah. And he's 19. It's not like he had his parents beside him saying, "No, son, go for more." Or I don't know what his situation was. He saw $100,000 at 19 years old. You're like, hell yeah, let's do this. So, yeah, there's conspiracy theories about that kind of stuff all the time too. About cheaper alternatives and engines that get way more gas mileage, but they just kind of disappear. And the oil companies come in and buy the patents and copyrights to these futuristic engines that hardly use any gasoline, get huge gas mileage, and then they store them away in some basement somewhere so nobody can use it, and they keep selling oil and gas. I don't know. It's a big conspiracy theory type thing. You can really go down a rabbit hole of that stuff all day long. So you got to be careful of that too. But yeah, whatever company, like I said, I didn't read the whole thing. If you go to the Good News Network, website. You can find the article there. But yeah, shows him in front of like a science project. He had the whiteboard with all the thesis and stuff and hypotheses and all that crap on the boards, and he's smiling, you know, and those people that gave him that check were smiling even and laughing once they got their car and drove off. Yeah, he's gonna fight. Yeah, nobody's gonna fight the pharmaceutical companies. They make so much money. Alternate power. Do you have an alternate power invention there, Leo, that you want to share with the group? And I would not share it publicly. There was a little story documentary type thing about Nintendo when they came out with the Game Boy. And it was like this, the Game Boy at the time was like this way ahead of its time gaming device. That's why it just exploded on the market. And you look at it now, you're like, that little thing. But when Nintendo was developing it and they had these people come in and look at it, I think it was like a reporter or something like that, he had to sign this disclaimer and waiver and legal things that he wouldn't disclose certain things and he'd keep his mouth shut and all this other stuff. Because it was so private. They were fighting against Sega and all these other companies that were making gaming consoles. But he had to sign all this stuff down just to keep his mouth shut. They wouldn't lose their ideas to another company. Yeah. There's probably is a cure for cancer. If you want to go into conspiracy theories. It was all about the bits. Was that what it was called, Leo? You seen that thing? I can't remember. I just saw clips of it. And then when the guy comes up and he's looking at the gaming device, the Game Boy, and it's just, you know, black and gray screen, and I was like, "Can you do it in color?" I said, "Yeah, we can do it in color, but it just consumes too much power. The batteries wouldn't last. So we did it this way, and instead, it still took off." So yeah, that was kind of cool and interesting to see. And then they market it later with the color screen and so forth and so on. The whole history of Game Boy. I had the original Game Boy. I sold it at a yard sale 25 years ago or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, I had all the little consoles growing up. And now you see people that have them all stacked on their walls. And they have this like history of gaming consoles and whole basements dedicated with like thousands of games. This whole archive and museum of video games and stuff like that. It's pretty impressive, you know. But it'd be cool to see them all again. Oh, I remember that. Oh, that game there. And then about maybe, I don't know, 20 minutes later, I'd be like, all right, okay, so we're going somewhere or what? I don't know if I'd sit down there and play games all day long. Terry's gaming console was a rock and a stick. Just 2 sticks. He didn't even have a rock. He just found 2 limbs on the ground. And he used them as swords and whatever else you could think of. Yeah, don't give him credit for having a rock as well. Hey, Liz, thanks for joining us this morning. You have his old flashbulb camera. And they had a small, little small. I remember my dad had one of the cameras that had... you would buy the little flash pack, I guess you would call it. Put it on top of the camera, and it was a blinding flash. There was no warnings. It was worse than when you go get your eye exam, and they shine that light in your eye, and you're supposed to keep it open as much as possible so they can look inside your eyeball. I think the flash of those cameras were worse. Oh, I had the Pong machine. Barry Bonds, in 2006, on this day in history, Barry Bonds hits his 715th home run to pass Babe Ruth in Major League MLB list. And then I think there was something came out where Babe Ruth can now be eligible for the Hall of Fame. If I remember correctly, he was gambling on games and they barred him for the Hall of Fame. But I think now somebody's like, okay, you can get in now. So, you had a computer. You put it into your Chevy Love, the Vic 20. First computer in a car before any major car company. Wow, do you have any pictures of that, Leo? That'd be cool to see. That'd be cool. Ramesh isn't here today. It's kind of odd. Oh, man. So, yeah, spelling bees and the sadness that is our country. Oh. See here, Phil Robinson. There's the top trends and things like that. Entertainment stuff. I don't even know who these people are. And then lifestyle, what to bring to a barbecue. Obviously, fairy house tree stumps are trending. But yeah, how to spell searches. I don't know. People don't even probably, kids and people are looking at those searches probably don't even know what a colonel is in the military, not the pop gold colonel. All right, see, you're a little ahead of me there. I'll have to Google some of that stuff, Leo. I don't. Yeah, it's kind of embarrassing. It's supposed to be like the most powerful country in the world, that type of thing, and these Google searches reveal a lot. You can go to Google Trends and pick a country and see. Most all countries are like searching soccer games, but America, we're trying to figure out how to spell, especially. And specific. The Chrisleys are getting pardoned. Oh yeah, I saw that in the news this morning as well. People who did, they had a little TV show and they were doing a lot of forgery and laundering of money and stuff like that, millions and millions of dollars. But yeah, they're getting pardoned. You can look that one up too. Pacific. It's specific. Oh, there was something else she said that aggravated me as well. I can't quite remember what it was. Mainly the Pacific thing. I don't remember. I want to remember, but I can't. Hell with it. Special. Yeah. Or tomorrow. People couldn't spell tomorrow. But anyway. Hey, Ton, how's it going? How's it going, Ton? Thanks for joining us this morning. Randoms in Australia. He says our day is going to be a 7.5 out of 10 today because he's in the future. So that's good news, guys. Terry says the traffic is light, so that's good. He's our truck driver. And so, you know, and then the weather, partly cloudy. So there's all your forecasts for the day. It's like, you got technically, but I don't have laptops when I went to school. Yeah. Well, I mean, I need to be more Pacific. Yeah. Axed instead of ask. Yeah, I don't know that either. PB Jelly said he's got a third grade education, technically. And see, that's just unfortunate, you know? I don't know your whole situation and stuff. And I'm not talking about just, you know, black people or any race. There's plenty of white people that say axe as well. You just haven't seen them on the right videos and stuff. There's plenty of with the slang and different versions of words. People make up stuff. That's kind of annoying too. I am talking to a computer screen. Yep. I'm talking to a camera, and I got my teleprompter over here with all the chat stuff. And I do consider myself to be a weirdo. So thanks. Appreciate that. Thanks for noticing. Well, I can only do 30 minutes today. Like I said, I'm cutting it down to 30 minutes for a while, from probably next month or two. I don't know. I can't talk about it. But anyway, I got to go. So thanks for watching. Like, share, subscribe. Check out some other stuff on my channel. I'm here every morning, Monday through Friday with the crew. And Robert is going to say bye as well. Say bye, Robert. Bye, Robert. Bye, Robert. Robert's going to have a good day today. Aren't you, Robert? Yes, he is. Thanks, guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow, or you'll see me since I don't technically see you. But anyway, bye, guys.